Hey guys, welcome to Flyin Miata's Facebook Live for today. My name's Keith Tanner. I apologize if you were watching our abortive one a couple of minutes ago. We had some audio problems, so we're starting over again. I am here today to introduce you to our new demo car here at Flyin Miata. This is Captain Bob. Captain Bob is named after Captain Bob, a nuclear submarine captain who happened to be Terry Cardell's father. When he passed away, we inherited the car. She's one of the owners here. And it just kind of sat in our fleet. We didn't know what to do with it for a while. We put a turbo on it, of course, because that's what you do around here. And we loaned it to Grassroots Motorsports for an article that was just published recently comparing 4 generations of boosted Miatas. The problem is no offense to those of you who have a Montego Blue Miata, it just didn't pop off the page. We had Soul Red, we had Classic Red, we had a nice silver, and then poor Captain Bob has kind of disappeared. So we decided to turn Captain Bob into an optimized NA. It's not crazy, you know, we're not going full on Singer on this thing and replacing the entire body with carbon fiber. But we are saying what would happen, you know, if we could just take an NA and make it just a little better without changing its fundamental attributes. So that's what we've done with Captain Bob. I'll start with the mechanical part because that's pretty straightforward. It's sitting on our stage 2.5 suspension, so that's our rear upper mounts, it's KONI shocks, it's the Flyin Miata springs, KONI sway bars, all the stuff that we know makes a good handling, good riding car. We get great feedback from customers and from journalists on this, so we're leaving that alone. We want to keep the inherent playful nature of the Miata with this car. We don't want to staple it to the ground and keep it from being playful and from being something you can toss around at normal speeds. So that's why we went with the suspension we did instead of a full-on Fox. We wanted to just keep it a little bit more nimble, a little more playful. For rolling stock, we've actually got 2 sets of tires on this one at the moment. I'll show you both. This side, it's a 15x7. This is the new Sparco FF1, available from Tire Rack and going to be available from Flyin Miata shortly. Very light flow forged wheel. This is Rally Blue. For the wheel nerds out there, these are a 25mm offset on a 15x7. They come in 8s and 9s as well. And we have it wrapped in the new Yokohama Flava. We call it the Flava Flav. It's the replacement for the very, very popular S-Drive. And this is in a 205 in this fitment. Let's go around the other side. I'll show you what's on the other side. Over here, we went as light as possible. Went for a wheel that's been around for a long time. It's the Yankee PF01, very light, again a 15x7, and that is this set is rolling on a set of G-Force Comp Sports, mostly because when we specified these, the Flava Flav was not available yet. Again, it's a nice tire. It's not a super high grip tire, but it's one we should be able to play with, and that's a 195 on there. Again, we're trying to keep the playful nature of the car. Under the hood, we have one of our Stage 1 turbo kits, emissions legal throughout the US, including California. It's basically the standard kit as it sits. We won't pop the hood right now to show that off because the R&D guys have been digging around down there, playing with cooling parts. So, but it's got a turbo. That's good. It's got our 2.5 exhaust, 2.5 catalytic converter, and a butterfly brakes. So it's basically it's a fairly easy, mechanically not a very exotic car. Oh, there's a little big brake kit on here as well. Something you can bolt together at home in your own garage, literally over the course of a weekend. We've done that. So it's an easy car to duplicate. Let's move over to some of the more obvious things. You know, the elephant in the room is blue. It's very, very blue. This is a 3M wrap. It's a color called Cosmic Blue. We chose it because it just leaps out at you when you're taking pictures. You should see it in the sunlight. It's unbelievable. It's very similar to the Lexus ultrasonic blue that you see on the IF, their sort of signature blue. We chose it simply because it really pops, it really shows off the car, and makes it stand out in pictures. So it is just a wrap. We had it done by another shop. We didn't do it ourselves because we don't kit ourselves. We don't ask them to do suspension. So we don't do wraps. Mirrors are really, really hard to wrap, so we went with these Ray Dot mirrors. They're from Moss Motors, or Moss Miata. They can supply those. We're still playing with some of the aesthetics on the car, but that's one of the things we're trying out. We also wrapped the door sills, the bottom of the sills, in black. This is something that Mazda has always done on most colors, and it makes the body look a little lighter. If you keep this body color, it just makes the car look a little chunky. Now that we're down here, you'll see there's an R package front lip. and the R package rear skirt on there as well. I talked to Tom Matano years ago about these lips, and he said the original styling models had little lips like that on them. They were taken off because they were difficult for shipping, but this is what the Miata is supposed to have. We also have some prototype side marker lights on here. You can see they're nice, bright. They're LEDs, obviously. They're chip-on-board LEDs, which are extremely bright at night, and then when they're turned off, they just go white. So we have amber in the front, red in the back. These are something I believe we'll be adding to our product line down the road. But again, it's just, we tried to keep any colors other than blue and silver and black from the outside. So that's why I went with these white turn indicators. Also a little nod to the original 1.6s. We had to put that on there. It's because they're getting less and less common now with still having that sticker on there, but you gotta have it. All right, this is all stuff that we don't sell. We just did it so that when people see this car, they look at it and say, that's just a nice NA. This is a car that I would like to own, I would like to drive every day and get their attention. That's more or less what we're looking to do here. So we're not looking to sell you these parts. These are just things that we thought would be cool to do, and this was our opportunity to do them. So in the interior, you recognize these seats if you watched our foamectomy video a couple of weeks ago. These are the seats we did the foamectomy on. They're originally out of a 2002. That's the parchment tan color they use, with a suede insert and heavily massaged foam underneath everywhere. And we also took that parchment, went through the whole interior. This is the same. This is carpet is parchment as well. It's out of that same car. So it's that lighter tan that was used in the late 2001 and later cars, instead of the sort of butterscotch color that this car had originally. And you may have noticed we took that same suede from the seats and ran it all the way around the interior, just in a single stripe. It's fun, you can write yourself notes in here if you want to. That was just to give it a slightly different look, to go tan without going full tan, and we're actually very happy with how that turned out. The upholstery work was done by Mike Usry here at Flyin Miata. He's got a sorted background as an auto upholsterer, so we gave him all these parts and said, "Here, Mike, make this happen." He did a great looking job. I love how that turned out. You can also see as you're going by, you can see some of the rings on the eyeball vents. Those are thinner than usual. Most rings that you see, they cover the entire plastic ring in there. I've always thought they were too heavy, so we went with a lighter one. It's a thinner one. They're out of Poland, and they do a nice job of brightening things up without being overwhelming. They are designed to match these stack gauges. Vintage Stack. Stack's a motorsports company from the UK, and they make some great, very modern looking gauges, but they have these old school ones too. So we put those in there, and again, match the rings. The HVAC panel hasn't been done yet. Don't look too closely. We have some parts that go in there. We just haven't got them installed yet. While we're looking at gauges, come on over here. You can see the custom gauges we put in the dash. Those were done by our friend Adam over at Rev Limiter. He does fantastic work. I love working with this guy because you give him an idea, you give him a task, and he takes it and goes 110% and does something you didn't expect, and it turns out great. One of the tricks you can see we did is we twisted the tachometer. That's an old school race car trick where you set the gauges so that vertical is normal. We put the red line at the top, it makes it easier to see, and also it's just plain fun because it looks like someone reached in there and twisted the whole tachometer around. Goofy fun. Adam also came up with this horn button. We asked him for a black one with a blue Mazda in it, and he said, "I've got a surprise for you guys. Send us this," and it's the most incredible looking horn button. It's got this glow to it from the brushed finish, so it looks fantastic. And again, a Momo prototypo wheel in there, just to keep everything classy and classic. There's a couple of things about the interior. Mike, when he was doing some upholstery, also put a pad on here, because if you've ever driven an NA long distances, you know that this is a very hard plastic. This is just comfortable to have this on your elbow. So Mike padded this. This is his first shot at it. I think it looks great. He thinks he can improve on it, so we may have a version 2 coming out, but that's just the factory cover with a little pad attached right to it. The most obvious thing, or one of the things we're proudest about because it's not that obvious, you'll notice that there's no stereo. There is a stereo. And it's all controlled by this little knob right here. There's a little Bluetooth receiver behind here that you can use this to adjust the volume, to go to go to the next track, the previous track, to pause and play. This is basically your sole visible control for the audio system. There's a hidden amplifier behind there driving the usual door speakers, and this allows us to have a fully controllable stereo without having all the knobs and buttons and things that you usually get. Our goal was to make this car a little bit out of time, a little timeless, and stereos, they age poorly. It's pretty normal you look in a car, you look at a stereo, you can tell it's 3 years old, you can tell it's 5 years old. It's got dancing dolphins on it. It looks like one of the old Alpine stereos from the 80s, whatever. So we decided to sidestep that whole thing with just a single knob. That is the fundamentals of the car. If you've got any questions about it, certainly hit us up with questions. We'd love to answer them. The roll bar is a hard dog. We call it a Fat Boy. It's actually out of the NB that donated the seats as well. Also known as a hardcore hardtop. Yeah, hardcore hardtop. We don't call it that anymore because it's so confusing. But anyhow, big burly bar. So we can take this car on track, and we will take this car on track. The plan is also to drive it across country. We're going to be taking it to Monterey for the historics in 6 weeks or so. And we're going to drive the car out there because this is intended to be not just a show car, not a trailer queen, but this is intended to be an actual driver that we enjoy driving every day. Have any questions over there, Kyle?
No questions.
We have managed to sate the internet. Look at that. They've seen everything now. I will pop the hood. What the heck? So you can see the turbo. Nothing too exotic down here. This is purely what you can get right out of our catalog. It's just a standard stage one. It's got a coolant reroute kit on it. Partly that's left over from its previous history doing some R&D work, but it also, of course, helps cool things down. To clean up the interior a little bit, it's got a catch can for some reason, probably R&D again. So we put a Cappuccino water bottle in here to open things up a little bit. And it's got one of our aluminum overflow tanks. Just because the old ones get so crusty looking, and they have a tendency to break and dump coolant everywhere, and that's a sad, sad day. So that's about all we've got going on underneath here. As far as we're concerned, this is completely normal, although it's always exciting to have one in your garage. We were lucky with this car in that it was Montego blue, so when we wrapped it in blue, we didn't have like a jarring red or green or yellow engine bay. The dark blue does fit in nicely. It does kind of fall away. If you are getting a car wrapped, that's something to think about, is what color you've got to deal with the door openings at the bottom of the hood. It's got to be the complementary color, or if you've got a black car, that's great because everything just disappears. I don't mind the sound of 25-year-old hinges.
Should come up with one question.
We have a question.
How long should the wrap last?
How long will the wrap last? This vinyl is, I believe it's rated for about 7 years. And that's assuming lots of UV exposure. We had one of our previous cars wrapped for the Target Newfoundland. We had Nancy wrapped. And that thing was wrapped from 2011 until just about a year ago. So about 7 years. And the wrap held up pretty well. That was a car that saw a lot of track time. And it had a very busy pattern on it. So it didn't really notice when you got damage to the wrap, but it actually held up extremely well. What's going to make a big difference is how much UV it sees. This car will live inside most of the time, other than when we're obviously driving it around, but we will park it inside, so it's not going to burn up the way you can sometimes see. But we expect to get at least 5 good years out of this. We have some special cleaning solvents that we use, or cleaning materials that we use that are specifically for wraps, for vinyl, to help preserve it as long as possible. The cost of the wrap, I believe, was under $2,000. We got quotes from a number of different companies. They range from under $2,000 to over $5,000 for the same basic job. This one, it's got a couple little flaws in it. It's a good 10-footer. The bright color hides some of those flaws. If this was glossy, if it was a shiny black, or if it was reflective, you'd really see them. And so we went with sort of the 10-footer option because this car will spend most of its time pulling people in from a distance. We're not trying to show off the ultimate wrap, we're just trying to get people's attention, bring them over to the car. And it is a fun color. I wish you could see it outside because it's just a ridiculous color. We do want to hear your comments on what you think of the Rally bronze wheels versus the silver wheels on the other side. Not everyone goes for bronze wheels. It's very Subaru. We like this particular bronze on this wheel, on this color. On this wheel, it's turned out a very different color than some of the other bronzes out there. The 6ULs, for example, are the current generation is considerably different. If we do decide to stick with the bronze wheels, we might have to do something at the mirrors. They kind of clash a little bit. But that's part of the fun of these cars, is we've got a very good idea of what we want to build, but we're still evolving a little bit as we put it together, as we learn things, as we sort of look at it and say, you know what would be really good? We've got a lot of people in here at Flyin Miata that have a lot of good ideas, have a lot of experience with these cars, have thought a lot about these cars, and so everyone, we sort of round table a lot of the discussions on this is what we're going to do and come up with the best combination of bits and pieces. Any other questions over there, Kyle?
Nope.
Okay. Well, folks, if you didn't catch us live, certainly put questions in the comments. We will do our best to answer them. We will put some information on that little stereo doohickey for you, because we know we get a lot of questions about that when we showed this thing off live at our summer camp last week. So we will post some information about that. It's not a terribly expensive little unit, although you do need an amp to go with it. But it's I've used it driving around, and it's great. You just line up whatever you want to listen to on your phone, and then control it over there, so you don't have to look at your phone. You have to screw around with it when you're driving around. It'll also take an auxiliary input, so you can plug in your Discman or your Walkman or your grandfather's Victoriella record player, whatever. Anything that's got a 1/8 input, you can jam in there. So that's it. Meet Bob. You're going to be seeing Bob a few times over the next few years as we show various things off. You'll see the car at various shows. If you go to Laguna Seca, if you go to the Monterey Historics, if you go to, who knows, we've got a number of different events. Anytime we're at an event, there's a very good chance that Bob is going to be there, because we all love the NA here, and this is our thought of what an NA can be without being completely over the top and completely changing its character. It's just the NA plus. So thanks for your attention, and we'll see you guys again next week.